So the question is on line 40 here, why are we concatenating left and right? And the answer to that question is one of these is empty, left and right, right? Right. So we just need to make sure that those results get concatenated onto the end of results so that we capture all those numbers, because we know everything that's left in either left or right is by definition going to be larger what's already in results, which is why we can just freely concatenate what's ever in there.
I just was wondering, like, what's like the policy for using built-in JavaScript functions? Like, because like I've seen other problems and stuff, and you have different solutions where some use built-in JavaScript methods, like reverse shift here, um, and then others try to find solutions that are, I guess, more uh, basic, I guess. And I'm just wondering what in your experience, what does that look like?
So I think the question is in particular around push and shift here.
Yeah.
And the question being like, what's our policy? What's the recommendation of when you can use shift and push, and when should you drop into something lower and maybe do the direct manipulation yourself? Because the,
Yeah, basically.
yeah, this shift functionality could actually be quite inefficient in terms of how it depends on how the array is implemented. In this particular case, I just want you to learn. So if you understand that stuff is coming off the front, we could have done this with counters and said, and have two for loops and an I and a j that's moving forward. And that would have probably been more efficient in terms of not jostling the arrays around. That's fine if you want to do that. That makes sense. It probably will be more efficient. In this particular case, I just want you to learn how the algorithm works, and I'm not interested in having the absolute most effective way of doing it. So it depends. Yeah, sorry, I apologize that is the answer yet once again. If you are extremely sensitive to performance, then these are things you have to worry about. If you're not, then I'd say this is more readable than trying to keep track of two counters.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep, good question.
Yeah, I tried my hand in writing the merge part of this thing in a recursive style as well.
I guess, yeah, I guess you could, right? Instead of saying merge stuff goes here, instead of having a merge function here, I guess that works, but I wouldn't do that.
That wasn't the thing. Like the merge function is separate in what I did, but it's also it calls itself, merges it in little parts. I think there is a reason. Is there a performance reason to prefer an iterative approach in merging?
I'd have to think about that, but I can't see this being any clearer, right? The reason why you would want to do this recursively is if you made the code look better and like read better. But I don't know about you. I find this code quite readable. But it's obviously a point of opinion here. I would not make merge recursive. I can't think of a good reason to do that. You could, probably. I'd have to think about it. But I'll say this, that typically merge is not made recursive. But to answer the online question here, you could absolutely do this, just move this up in here. And then this would just be sorted left. Sorted right. And then you would just return. And then you'd have to do the return concat. Yeah, all that stuff would just end up here. And I think this should still work. Oh, what did I do? Oh, this needs to be sorted left. There you go. And that works. So the reason why I don't like, excuse me, the reason why I don't like that is because I really liked having all this separated into one little merge function. One, this is now usable in other places. Not that I think you would, but it would be. But more importantly, you can actually write unit tests individually for merge, right? So you can actually test this one piece of function in isolation by itself, and that's always a good thing. As much as possible in general, just as a general programming rule, one function does one thing, as much as possible, right? Again, remember rule number one here is there are no rules. So if it makes sense to have a function do two things, then by all means do it. In this case, I think it makes a lot of sense to separate this into two separate things.